Hello and welcome to episode 47. Today we will focus on a game and watch that we previously looked at in episode 17, called Manhole. That was a Gold Series version. Today's star is the new widescreen series version in a new coat of paint and with a much more colorful screen overlay. Here we see the new version, which was first offered for sale August 24, 1983, selling approximately 250,000 units. This is the third of 8 games that make up the new widescreen series of Game & Watch. We've already looked at both Donkey Kong Jr. and Mario Cement Factory during episodes 45 and 46. And that leaves us with another 5 games from the new widescreen series to review in the near future, all of which are seen here. When this game was brand new, it would have contained batteries and stickers, as well as an instructions booklet. It was also given a production code of NH-103, shown here. Battery insertion, time and alarm settings, the overview of how to play including the point system and bonus rounds are covered here. Please feel free to pause on any page that interests you. So having read the booklet, let's look briefly at some gameplay. The game called Manhole is a very simple and straightforward game. As I've already mentioned on here, it's very similar to the older version of the Gold Series Manhole with the production code of MH06 issued in 1981. The object is to move the manholes to their 4 different locations to prevent the pedestrians from falling into the horrible sewage canal below. The player has 3 lives, and we are currently playing the easier of the 2 options, Player Mode A. Sadly, as we join the gameplay, we see we've already lost a life, shown by a t-shirt icon at the top of the screen. And to add insult to injury, we've lost another life, so we're already down to our last life. And, for a total score of 15, the final life is lost. The 3 t-shirt sprites at the top of the screen simply underscore our ineptitude in playing this game. The game's 4 control buttons are ergonomically placed to move the sprite to the corresponding open drain, which makes the player's movements both straightforward and effective for this fast-paced game. The game's distinctive metallic blue paint is vibrant and appealing, however the silver bezel surrounding the screen is sadly prone to scratching due to the softer paint in that area, which is a common blemish on used examples. The Gold Series version was released only 2 years prior to today's focus. An example of the 1981 game is seen here. Nintendo re-released this Game & Watch in 1995 on the Game Boy Gallery cartridge. And 2 years later, in 1997, they further released the game called Manhole on the inaugural launch of the very first Game & Watch Gallery. And utilizing these cartridges on the newly released Super Game Boy adapter, coupled to a Super Nintendo Entertainment System, players were able to switch between the handheld screen and dock it and play on a full-size television, decades before the Nintendo Switch was even thought of. Much later, in 2002, the Game & Watch Gallery 4, or Advance brought us our first modern reinterpretation of this game. Likely using the Super Game Boy as inspiration, the Game Boy Player, an accessory for the mighty GameCube, allowed the modern version of the game to be delivered to the TV screen for improved entertainment. Using well-proven technology, Nintendo developed a card reader accessory for the Game Boy Advance that looked much like a credit card scanner from the local store. Although short-lived, and not very successful, they released a classic version of the game Manhole in 2002. And in 2006, a Japanese exclusive DS game, a translator for English, had a hidden game of Manhole in its homepage menu screen. And likely more well-known to a Western audience was the availability for the eShop offered by Nintendo, called DSiWare, that saw many downloadable mini-games, including the Game & Watch Manhole. I'd like to finish up here by looking at some international distributors and the variation of the box art that accompanied their offerings. To start things off, we see the front and back of the UK's variant from CGL, which stood for Computer Games Limited. The next one is the brightest and most appealing, called Pocket Size. It was the version Nintendo of North America used early on. And while not fully comprehensive of every worldwide version of box art issued, I'd like to finish off with the French variant called JI21, and their locally designed box and instructions in French, that today boasts a very zealous collector market. Well, all I have left to say is thanks for joining me. I'd ask the favor that you hit the like button, better still subscribe, and even consider following us for a detailed look at Nintendo's historic offerings through the decades. Thank you sincerely, and I hope to see you all back here soon.